I will go out right now and say it's one of the greatest combat experiences I've had in gaming in a very long time.
Facts, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel
So that was impressive. So again, I remember speaking to Kyle Sign, and they fought with the teams and Xbox and everybody. Like, look, the key for us as platinum is speed.
Play. I'm talking about the combat first, and the combat is just like you guys have said. That's chef's kiss. Like it really is tight, fast, visceral. Both characters are constantly slathered in blood.
I didn't like him in the beginning. I didn't want him in the beginning, and then after the build-up, after everything, after a great story, after getting to love the character, now I want to see this character.
All right. And we are not live, but we are here. The year of the ninja is upon us. Shout out to Xbox. Shout out to Koei Tecmo. Shout out to Platinum Games for providing us a review code of Ninja Gaiden 4.
All
The
four
lit-
lords.
All four laws. Isn't that prophetic, right? So, we got a chance to review and cover this game. So, we are not going to dance around. We're going to get into this. So, Attic, man, open the floor. We got to talk about this game.
So first off, I want to put the rule of engagement. What we're going to be talking about. I do feel like we do need to talk about the story to some degree because Ryu's in this, and I feel like, especially from your guys' perspective, he's a very important figure to you guys. So just talking about your raw. I don't want to go too deep into it. Just surface level stuff, and then I feel like when I was writing this, not only do we got to talk about the graphics, we actually got to talk about the style too, because this is a very style type of game, and I feel like that's something important. Then we're going to talk about the gameplay, obviously, and then just overall impressions. So, it comes down to story. All right, let's get into the story aspect, because opening starts, man, I want to know how you felt about the pacing. I want to know how you felt about the narrative. Did it work overall to you without getting too much into stuff? And I want to know about, did you feel about any of these when it comes to pacing? Was it the chapters related, or was it mainly just extended sections that stayed around a little bit too long? We're gonna start with King.
Um, Story-wise, I felt a little bamboozled. I'm not gonna lie. I felt because I wasn't expecting Yakamo to be the bulk of the story. I thought that I felt Metal Gear Rising feels. To be honest with you, I was looking for Snake, and then I got Raiden, and I'm not gonna lie, I was disgusted for the majority part of the game because I tuned in looking for a Ryu Hayabusa. That's what I buy a Ninja Gaiden game for, based off of that aspect of it. So for a large majority of the game, I was playing as this unknown ninja that I'm just learning about his story. And at the end of the situation, I figured out that it was ingenious to do it that way, because if you would have started off with Ryu, then this ninja wouldn't have as much gravitas as he winds up having later on in the game. This is how you diversify the franchise. So the story, I felt they took a fresh take on the story based off of the previous stories that they did tell, with Ryu being the main star. Right now, you came from it from a different aspect of it, with different goals and different motivations, opposed to the goals and motivations of Ryu. Ryu goal was to always destroy the dragon, the dark dragon, and he kind of conceded to the fact that he would never be able to destroy him. He will only be able to seal him off. And this aspect gave a true aspect of a character that can destroy the Dark Lord, the Dark Dragon. So I like how they approached it. So what I did notice is the versatility between the two. So as far as story wise, Yakamo he's really a ninja that's strictly to the code of his clan, and this is the first time that he went off a script based on he was given a mission, and usually he carries out his mission, but stirs him inside to go off that mission, to see, instead of just being used as a tool, to see exactly why is he being sent to do these things. So I thought that we got a ninja with independent thought that didn't just do exactly what he was told, kind of in the vein of Ryu, because we all know that Hayabusa kind of beats to his own drum. He goes based off of the integrity of the moment, how he feels about the situation, and also does it adhere to the ninja code and the ninja way. So we got a chance to see a different aspect of that with Yakamo. I was endeared to the character at the end, but initially from the beginning, the story kind of turned me off based off of the fact that I thought I was bamboozled. I thought it was an arbiter moment. I thought it was a situation where I wanted Master Chief and I got this other guy. And I just felt that the other guy, though he is stylish, though his clothes look fantastic, his ninja clothes look great, he is versatile in what he does. I still wanted Ryu. And I just felt that initially I was turned off from it.
Just to clarify, you beat the game, correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, after you
to
said
clarify, everyone be the gay sir.
yeah. No, it's just being honest with transparency with it. Solve, man. You know, how'd you feel about the pacing, the story overall, and what was your overall impressions of how they handled the game?
Yeah. So yeah, I beat the game as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a Ninja Gaiden story. There isn't a whole lot to it. It is in a lot of ways a rehash of the old stories, which is, like to King's point, it always has something to do with the dragon sword or the dark dragon, right? It's kind of, that's always kind of been the a big central point and the crux of sort of Ryu's mission. And now I guess they put some finality to it, right? Maybe, right? With this character of Yakamo being, a Raven Clan member, and actually, finding out that it is a Raven Clan member that has to put a final end to the Dark Dragon. That Hayabusa, no matter how many times he kills the Dark Dragon, he cannot ever put a final end to the Dark Dragon. So, in that way, I thought it was cool that they were kind of finally going to maybe put an end to that storyline and move forward. But yeah, to King's point, it was I figured it would be more of a Yakamo game than a Ryu game, so I was expecting that. The overall story, it was, you could take it or leave it. It's a vehicle for the action, which is where this game shines. The story stuff, again, if you played Ninja Gaiden, especially all the 3D Ninja Gaidens, it really is sort of, kind of putting a bow on the general stories that they've told over the course of, the Ninja Gaiden, one shout out and RIP to Tomonobu
I was about to
Itagaki.
say that, bro.
Yeah,
the legend. Rest in
the
peace
legend,
to the
yeah.
legend, Itagaki-san.
Yeah. So it is kind of putting a bow on those stories and moving forward, what I believe to be kind of with a new protagonist. And we saw it a little bit also in Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, where it wasn't really Ryu also as well. You have Kenji in that game. So it does feel like this is their path forward. We'll probably see less games with Ryu. Hopefully we do see more games that have him as a main protagonist, but it does feel like they want to move in different directions. But yeah, story wise, it's for me, it's really just a vehicle for the combat in these games. So it's serviceable enough. If you care about the story in these games, they do sort of put a bow tie on those sort of stories, and that's pretty much it.
Cog.
Yo.
So Cog has made it clear he has the least time than all of us.
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
But he has an extensive knowledge
11 chapters
with the 11.
Yeah.
You're way more than halfway through the game. So.
Yeah.
So when it comes to be fair, what you've played, it doesn't really evolve too much at that point. So I think you're fine in terms of taking the game itself. But what you played, I'm very curious because I know you're the ninja person. Everything you do is ninja related. So I want your opinion, especially when it comes to how they handled, because in my opinion, this is like a passing the torch kind of game, and I want your opinion on that too, and just your overall perspective on like right now from where you are with the pacing. Do you think the pacing's kind of, because what I like is where you're about a little bit more than halfway through the game, you can interpret, is the pacing there or later on in the game? So I'm very curious to hear your opinion.
Yeah, well, first I want to just paint the picture. Obviously this is a dream game for me. In the sense of, a collaboration. It's been so long since we had Ninja Gaiden 3, and this game legit would not have existed if it wasn't brainstormed legit by the presidents of Koei Tecmo and Platinum, and talking about how can we bring this thing back, and they just couldn't find a resource, or they couldn't think about how to do it. And then again, shout out to the team at Xbox Publishing, and of course Phil Spencer. We have to give him his props. He's directly responsible for this sequel getting greenlit and then coming to multiple platforms and including in Game Pass. So I want to give credit where credit is due there. Now for me, I'm a Ninja Gaiden 2 black kind of GOAT kind of guy. Like that's the one for me that really resonates for me. And when I got a chance to interview Nakayo-san, the young Platinum Game Studio director, what it really stood out to me is he's like, that's my favorite Ninja Gaiden game. So I'm like, oh, okay, I know what energy they're coming with. Now back to the, the narrative. It was interesting because it's a co-developed game. Like, how are they going to approach it? Like King's saying, we have the OG that everyone knows, Ryu Hayabusa, the legend, one of the favorites. He's been there. The stylish look, as King would say, the leather ninja in the building, you know what I'm saying? Fly with the dragon joint, you know what I'm saying? And then we got this young upstart who we don't know about. And, when I initially started playing the game, I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, my thing was, after a while, because, we were with Yakamo for a while. And I'm going to be real, like, I wasn't missing right. I was feeling the young boy. And like, my thing was like, and that's a risky thing because I get it. Like, if you are coming in here for Ryu, I can totally see King's point of a person being upset. Like, bro, like I'm with this cat for a while. You know what I'm saying? And when am I going to get to my guy, right? Especially if that's your guy. I felt Platinum did such a good job with him that it made me forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, when am I going to get you to play with? Like, it's been this minute. So what I would say for him, look, he's the young upstart from the Raven clan. He's kind of funny to me with his short, quippy answers. He thinks he knows. He's very cocky. He's got a lot of energy in the building. And, he's got his team. And they're kind of this subsect of, the whole, Hayabusa clan and the family. But they willing to do things a little dirty the way they get to how they gonna get to it. And to what, you guys are saying about the story, obviously, we noticed the Dragon's clan, the Dark Dragon story and all that. Look, it's just like Sob said. The story is nonsensical ninja nonsense. Like, let's just be clear. Like, it is, in my opinion, it's a vehicle, like Sob eloquently said, to move this thing forward. But I wanted to see how they handle it. Now, to your point about, the pacing, so to speak, I did feel at times, there were times where things dragged a little bit, and I'm like, okay, y'all need to pick this up. We've been here a little too long. And then there were other times I'm like, man, this is really cool what's happening, and boom, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So I did have some inconsistencies with that, but overall, to where I am, this game and Yakamo to me just reeks cool. Everything about him and what they try to do from a narrative and a gameplay perspective is just, if it's cool, put it in. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get more into core gameplay mechanics. But that's my top level impressions. I've been loving the ride. This is a very, very vicious, dark Tokyo, brutal game. And yeah, I got a lot more to say, but that's my initial thing on narrative, story, direction, like pacing right now.
Yeah. Real quick, to Cox's point, it's true. In terms of the pacing, I felt like sometimes like there were certain stages where you did 4 or 5 chapters within a stage, and it's like, when you look at it, like you're in essentially the same area for all of this time, but you've gone through 4 or 5 chapters of the story, and it's just like, all right, when are we getting out of this forest? When are we getting out of this? Like it felt very samey. And then to his point as well, like there's sometimes something really cool would happen, and it'd be like 2 sections, and it's like, oh, this chapter's over, right? And it's like, oh, wait a minute, like, yeah. So it was very sort of, it was kind of back and forth in terms of that, where some stages definitely wore out their welcome.
Right. Yeah. So it comes down to me, I actually have a different opinion. I like the story I was endorphed in it the entire time. I will say that I believe that the pacing was the worst around chapter 16, 17, because I don't want to go too much into it, but there were things that was done, and I don't think it was really logically thought about why it was done. It was just put in there for people like Cog, for people like King, for people like Solve, and it wasn't thought about how it would be in the story. It was just like, oh yeah, let's do it, and then they did it. Now,
yeah, and then you realize that you were just regurgitating what you saw before.
yeah, so reusing stages, reusing enemies. I'm not for that kind of stuff. I feel like if you're going to do something, do it. But I will say the way they did it, they get a little bit of a pass because it's not like they were I don't want to get too much. It's not like there was scenarios where it was done too much, because it was like it's done once and then it was over. So right. I feel like they didn't really overstay their welcome on there. I feel like between that and the extensive chapters, there's this incident where you chase something, and oh my God, I felt like they could have shortened that by like 2 hours.
Yes.
And I feel like the pacing that by itself would have made the entire game dramatically better. But I'm going to be real with you. Like, we'll get into gameplay here in a minute, even with the pacing. And I will say there's tremendous pacing issues in this game. I felt like I was being rewarded. Like, it's like, there's something wrong, but they give you candy.
Yeah, it feels good now.
There's something wrong, and then
I'm over it.
There's something wrong. Like, here's candy, here's some new upgrade, here's some new thing you could use. And I'm like, and by the time like I get tired of that, here's some new candy, here's some update. I'm like, oh my God, I can't be mad because at least I'm doing new things. Like,
no, I feel it. I do want to add one thing again. I'm trying my best. You guys have beat the game, and I'm trying my best to not be spoiled. But I will say this: I want to give the game credit for one big thing. We've come from similar scenarios in games. Let's just use Halo 5 as an example, where build-ups are hyped up, right? And you go, okay, and then you get there, you're like, in my opinion, what I've seen so far, when it came time for a moment and a build-up, it exceeded my ex. I was like, oh, okay. Now, granted, King, you're muted if you're talking. You must have tapped it. Tap.
Sorry. The payoff in this game is huge on every aspect. There's not a time that I got to a space where it was a build up to it that the payoff let me down. Every aspect of whatever the MacGuffin is and the payoff to it, it works out. And Attic is right with the pacing.
I want to hijack it real quick that me, Solve, and King can at least talk about. I don't want you to go into huge detail. Clearly, from all the marketing they do, Ryu and the new Buck was going to meet. Did you feel satisfied with that encounter?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. I will go out right now and say it's one of the greatest combat experiences I've had in gaming in a very long time.
Facts, because I feel that they represented both characters to the fullest. But what they also did was they gave you two different perspectives of the same battle, and then they clearly accumulated to an outcome that is satisfactory across the board with everyone.
And I'm not gonna. It was the only time.
This ain't Locke versus Chief.
No.
Both characters get their shine. You show why both characters are as dominant as they are.
And then you start asking after the credits roll, I need his own game. Like, I need him separate from because all right, story wise, and I'm sorry again for hijacking that. That's why I kind of had myself muted based off of I didn't like him in the beginning. I didn't want him in the beginning, and then after the build-up, after everything, after a great story, after getting to love the character, now I want to see this character outside of this ecosystem with Ryu Hayabusa and that clan. I want his clan to shine. I want to see more of his clan because it is the Raven clan. It was characters that we do not get a chance to see on screen, but we only hear their voice, and I want to see their representation in a world.
Especially some of the character models.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna get the graphics.
Shout out to Itagaki San for paving the way. Paving the way.
Paving the way.
Because I saw somebody. I said, "Oh, I remember you."
I saw a lot of people. It's like I said. Like what I respect the most about the story of this is a lot of the times I don't know if they're gonna pass the torch to this dude, but what I like is they respect it. It's like, look, you gonna get the torch if it is that. But you gonna earn that. You gonna take that torch. There ain't gonna be no easy torch giving. Like this is Ryu or whatever you pronounce it. This is a legendary character in this lore, and if you want to buck up with him, you gonna know he ain't someone to be messed with.
Yeah,
especially the first time you see him in the game. It's one of the most cold, mean things ever said. But you know what?
Where you going, son? What you doing, son? What you going with that?
So, any closing statements in terms of the story that any of you guys want to go into, or are we good on this?
Yeah, just the pacing stuff that we talked about. Yeah, I think they could have, but at the end of the day, and I think what's his name? Yakamo. Yakamo. Yeah, he was a little bit dry for me.
I didn't like his voice.
I don't like his voice. I thought, I won't spoil this, but yeah, he was a little bit dry for me, and his cockiness came through, and I like the fact though that he got. He got more attached to characters as the game went on, and you could see him softening a little bit. But I still would have liked to have him have more dialogue because he had very little in that regard.
All right, no doubt. So we're gonna go into the graphics, style, and gameplay because I feel like all of these come together to make one giant bowl of cereal. It's the milk and the cereal come together. Because I ain't gonna lie, the gameplay with the style of this game, I will say, in my personal opinion. Some things about the graphics I had issue with. We'll get to that when I get me. But we had King first. Let's go with Saul. Let's go with Saul.
All right, so let's start with graphics. I'm gonna be honest. Like graphically, I was able to, thankfully, to run it on pretty high settings, and nothing really stood out to me as amazing looking. The art design, the art style of the game, is one of those things where it's like you're in a Tokyo that's destroyed, right? And you have this sort of like demonic presence. So everything is sort of downtrodden and destroyed. But then when I look at the environments, I'm like, man, everything looks like it's on a scaffold somewhere. Like everything is, it's either a sewer or a scaffold. And you saw a lot of these environments that felt like they were repeated a lot. So I'm like, I don't know, man. It just felt like they could have done more with the environments. But there were points like, when you step out into Tokyo proper and you see the condition it's in, it's like, oh wow, the Dark Dragon, the husk of the Dark Dragon has really had an effect on this world. And that shines through. But I just thought that the environments, it's kind of the criticism that I had of Destiny in the past, where it feels like the environments are just made for combat. And not really fit to feel like they've been lived in. There's a point where Yakamo he goes into like another dimension and he comes back out of there and he's like, yeah, it was very weird being in that dimension. It's like there's no human beings, there's no life, and I'm like, dude, there's no human beings or life in the regular dimension. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So it was like, again, it just feels like these environments are built to sort of support the combat and you being able to jump off walls and stuff like that. And so they're functional in that regard, but they aren't the prettiest necessarily. I think the prettiest parts of the game are when you're probably close to a boss and you're reaching like a shrine and you have that epic sort of like slow walk moment up a flight of steps and you see the shrine in the distance and you're making your way there and you see like the sky is dark and it's raining and the rain's falling. Those moments are epic and it looks pretty good. But I think overall, the game has a little bit of a rough edge to it. And like I said, the environments themselves aren't super interesting and they sort of stick around for way too long. But there are points when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is cool. And I think to that point, some of that probably is by design because this game runs kind of flawlessly on every piece of hardware that I put it on. It runs great on Xbox, runs great on different multiple SKUs of PC, and it runs
Did you do
great
the
on
handhelds? Any
yes.
handhelds?
I did it on.
Yes.
I did
Because
it
I
on
know
the-
I know you and King played it on the handheld. I don't know if Carl
Yeah.
did.
We say
Yeah.
the handheld. What handheld is that, guys?
Well, I did it on the original ROG Ally X,
Okay.
and also the Xbox ROG Ally.
They
I'm actually
ran.
playing it right now.
No, don't show the screen.
I didn't show anything.
I guess it wouldn't matter by the time.
No, it wouldn't
Yeah,
matter
we
now.
can borrow, man.
Once
We
it comes
could.
out,
Because
we'll be
I don't know why,
Yeah,
but back in my mind, I thought we was
got
live.
no, don't do it.
NDA boy kicked in. NDA boy kicked in.
it actually runs perfectly on this device.
So when you guys played on handheld, like so the performance was good because that is part of the question. So we might as well just get to that now.
Yeah,
let's get to it.
the performance was great. Like I said, on every platform that I put it on. So the fact that maybe it's not the prettiest game helps in that it runs great on everything. And like I said, it is one of those things where, especially on the ROG, right? You want to see, hey, does it default to settings that make it perform well? And immediately it did. I was like, okay, it's running at 60. I'm like, great, this is fantastic. I don't have to mess with it. All I did was bring down the resolution a little bit because that's just how if I can eke out even a little bit more performance, I'll do that on the handheld specifically. So I didn't really care about, running the game at 720p or 900p, even if the screen is 1080p, because I know I'll get a little bit more performance, but the game ran absolutely beautifully on the ROG and pretty much everywhere else that I put it. So yeah, I got to give it that. In a world where a lot of games come out broken day one and are not functioning well, yeah, it's doing pretty well. It's running pretty well. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised that this doesn't have a whole lot of issues out of the box when it comes to playing the game.
Carl, how you feel about the graphics and the atmosphere and just the overall? Because I will say this is a very gory game, very animation heavy game, and that's why I put them together, because without both of them wouldn't rock too much. But what do you feel about those?
Yeah, man, this is a very dark game. This is the darkest atmosphere, futuristic, dark Tokyo settings, mostly at night, grimy, stylish dismemberment. The game, it's the most bloodiest game you've ever going to see. You are literally laced with blood when you start doing those Y executions over people and stuff like that. And it's just like, as far as the graphics, I think, they made a conscious design decision, which is, we want this game to run flawlessly as far as the amount of enemies on screen, the amount of shit. I'm surprised with everything that's going on. And I'm like, man, this is a lot. How is these consoles able to keep up with this? Now, granted, I won't say from a character model stuff, it is the highest fidelity I've ever seen. No, but it's still serviceable. It's still good. Especially those cinemas, they zoom up. But what you could tell is, if I had to guess, some of the tricks is maybe, okay, make things darker, kind of thing, so that we can put bad
No
enemies.
NPCs.
You know what I'm saying? No NPCs. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you're here to fight and to get to the next segment and stuff like that. But it's all about looking cool while doing it. Now, the thing for me is right off top, again, when I covered this game the first time, I was like, wow, y'all got 120 frames per second mode?
Yeah.
In this day and age, that is so rare. That we would look for games like simple indie games. Oh yeah, you have it 120 frames per second.
Right.
You're Ori. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen a AAA game in God knows how long with an 120 frames per second mode rocking. You know what I'm saying? But I thought that was impressive. So again, I remember speaking to Kyle-san, and they fought with the teams and Xbox and everybody. Look, the key for us as platinum is speed. And when I noticed it off the bat, when I played this game, the minute you got Yako, you hit up and you seeing that he's running all over the place. This is pure speed. When you hold down, we're gonna get again. I'm going to touch a gameplay a little bit, but when you hold down that Y and you're going from the ultimate ninja killer, you're going from enemy to enemy and you're doing your crazy combos. I'm like, how is the game keeping up with this? This is wild. You know what I'm saying? So from a performance standpoint, this is top tier. From a graphical fidelity standpoint, you can say, okay, step down, not like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is super nothing. I've never seen anything look as pretty as this. It's not that kind of thing. You know, the photo mode is okay. You know what I'm saying? I looked at that, but I've been playing other games. I'm like, okay, yes, there's some photo modes will be better than that. But yeah, I would say that. And then, what was your other question? You said a reference to it was one other part to this. I lost my thought with the.
Just the overall style, the
Yeah, the
way the game
style.
looks, the immersion,
Yeah. The style
animations.
is there. The style is there. The way how clean the executions look. This is the camera angles that are picked. You know, when you get these executions and you're doing these different things in the game. And again, there's certain levels where it really they want you to platform cool. They want you to look cool. They want you to be fly when you do. And I just thought that's when the game shot. The moment to moment speed, pacing, and production of it, as far as from a graphical standpoint, not a narrative pacing, from a graphical standpoint, you're always on the edge of your seat. And I knew it because this game keeps me awake. Like it's one of the few games that I'm like, okay, I'm up. So yeah, that's pretty much. I want to give a shout out to Platinum for fighting for performance and speed because they knew that was integral to the experience that they
It's the best
wanted
decision.
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it because it's again, it's rare. 120 hertz on console. And again, I went with 60, but I had to see it. I was like, yo, this ain't that much of a drop off. Okay, these are for the Master Ninja guys who want extreme precision and they want no, you know what I'm saying, that latency. You got that TV to support? Oh, yeah, they did that.
King, feel like when it comes to graphics, you're one of the biggest components in it. You like your games being candy.
Sweet eye candy.
Yeah. So how you feel about the graphics, the immersion, animations? Because I feel like that's part of graphics.
First, I got to say this is a platinum game. So if you know, this is not a Team Ninja game as far as level design, what they view a world as. This is pretty much how Platinum views a world. If you've seen Bayonetta, if you've seen a lot of their older works.
He worked on that too, not to cut you. The Kyle worked over there, the guy who directed Young Boy.
Another Astral Chain.
And
right.
Near as well.
So you're gonna see a lot of flat planes. And like Sav said, scaffolding rooftops, nothing really too much in between, and below, underground. These are stick choices. If you've played any of the Ninja Gaidens before this one, you've seen dojos, you've seen torii gates, and even though you had torii gates in here, you've seen more Japanese sensibilities and different kind of landscapes. When you saw cherry blossoms, and it's a different feel. If you played Ninja Gaiden Black, it's a different world. It's a different feel. The way that you move through the worlds is different. This is a Platinum game. Now, with that being said, Platinum games are known for efficiency. No matter what hardware that they're running on, they run very efficient. A lot of those games was put on the Nintendo Switch, so they had to run very efficiently. Now, do they look like hyper 360 games? Yes. Very clean, very hyper 360 games in worlds that are not populated. Only thing that's going to show up is the enemies that you are supposed to eliminate because you're cleaning out the room with all those enemies and move on to the next room. So the rooms are serviceable for combat and they look that way. Very minimum artwork on the walls. You see something like graffiti that really makes no sense in this ninja game, Underground.
No, shout out to the club, though. Can I give a little shout out to Club Ninja?
Yeah, because the Club Ninja still, the world is destroyed, but they got the club popping.
Shout out to the Club Ninja and the spot.
The graffiti all over the
beat that was popping in the Club Ninja.
That was so early 2000s, late 90s, game culture, 360 movement. I hear you. I'm not taking away from when you did take the time out to graphically give us something pleasing like a story. Oof, beautiful. Character models are off the chain. From Yakamo's character model to Ryu Hayabusa's costume in this, the layers in between the costume fabrics looks phenomenal. The same thing with the female characters and Tyron, the crow character that does pop up, that I would like to see him in a game, see his ninja style, how that transcends. You introduce different characters that look visually pleasing in a world that's pretty much bland, right? The bosses look great, but pretty much go along the 360 model of open area, use your ninja combat to take them out. It doesn't really change from that, and it is performance based. I see their sensibilities from the Switch, from the 360. They carry that over. I don't think it evolved in the series consoles or the PC. So that's the reason why they can hit 120. This is the reason why they can do 60 rock solid. This is the reason why they will deliver a complete rock solid game. But they're not going to win the best beauty pageant game, right? So this game is going to be graphically a high 8, but it won't break that ceiling, because I think breaking that ceiling actually fundamentally breaks down the speed of the game and what they want to deliver in gameplay. I think Platinum puts gameplay above anything else and then works backwards from there as far as graphics goes and everything else behind that. So graphically, I was pleased. I wasn't blown away, but everything put together makes a fantastic package. So I'm not too hard on them, because it is one thing to have a game that hits these graphical high notes, but on speed, it only can go 30 frames per second. You can't get the engine past this point, and then you have inconsistencies in gameplay. And I think that in timing and in some of the platforming in this game, it's necessary for you to have graphics that are serviceable, high water graphics that are serviceable without breaking the budget on your speed and efficiency of your engine. So I respect them for having our thoughts in mind when it comes to having a great game and great gameplay.
Yeah, I pretty much feel exactly what you guys saying. I do feel like this game, it's not a looker. It doesn't push boundaries in any way, shape, or form. But I don't think it was ever meant to. I do think they went with more of a darker tone to hide certain aspects, so they have to like redefine those aspects. But I think they focused on exactly what they knew they needed to focus on, and that was the gameplay. I feel like that was always the intentions. The intentions was always, we need to make sure this gameplay is consistent, this gameplay's fast, and there's no issues with the gameplay. And if that means we take a slight hit on graphic fidelity, we take a slight hit on graphic fidelity. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like I wish some more developers would make those choices, because sometimes, these games look amazing, but the gameplay is just dull. There's nothing to do.
Run back.
Yeah, so I do agree with you on that. As far as like the animations, the gore, everything's there. I felt like the character models were good. Wasn't a whole lot of them, and some of them looked very extra. But I didn't have no issue with anything in terms of graphics. But I will say it's not going to blow you away or anything like that. But I do think, like Carl said, it's very, very serviceable. So let's go to the meat and potatoes, man. Gameplay. I think in terms of gameplay, this is their strongest pillar by far. But I want you guys' opinion. I'm going to start with Cog in terms of, there's a couple key factors I really want to go over in terms of gameplay. I want to go over how was it overall. Did this feel like Ninja Gaiden, or did it feel like a merger between something else like a Devil May Cry? Do you think this is easy for upcoming like onboarding? Do you think this is an easy aspect for people to pick up? And stealth like, there's a lot of stealth like mechanics in this game, ironically, and I want your opinion on those too. So we'll start with the overall feel of combat.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, for those who want to get a feel, get a jump, I would highly advise playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black that is out. That to me seems like the foundational inspiration from a gameplay standpoint. You know, the hordes of enemies, the blood, you know, the dismemberment, the craziness, the weapon switching and stuff like that. What's cool is the switching on the fly here, you know, and being able to use the D-pad to go from the different various weapons that Yakamo and what you call it will get. I think for me, the move list was really more robust than I thought. I was like, wow, there is a lot here. And, you know, it becomes this skill loop, which is the better you can perform, the more you can earn. And if you are not dying a lot, and if you are not using health a lot, they will convert the extra items into ninja coin, which you can then invest into your
And you
moves.
come across like one of those resurrection vials. That's 15,000 ninja coins
Bruh.
in your pocket.
So
Unfortunately, I was using those. I wasn't getting too many of those. So,
facts. And them war brews, and when I want a little more extra attack or a little extra defense, you know, so it creates this what I consider the ninja skill loop. If you perform well, you know, you will be rewarded and then have a lot of resources for the big fights and stuff like that that can come in. Now on the flip side, I made some tactical errors where I was messing up with, first of all, I was very C-rated ninja. Let's just be clear.
yeah,
If
I hovered
I
around like high C, B.
never
I
hit a
don't think I ever
B,
got an A. I don't think I ever got an A in the whole game.
I was a C student throughout this experience. I'm not even going to cap fraud to y'all. I was just happy to get through. I didn't care how I got through. I got fly what I want. I got two points where I was untouchable. Now, where the gameplay loop really gets cool for me, again, is from the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black standpoint. What I would do is, you know, you use your weapons, you use your combos, stuff like that. But also, I'm a red orb dude. When I see the red orb on that screen, and I get in the question, especially if the enemy gonna give me, because these enemies like to swarm you, run down on you, give you no time to bleed. You gotta be constantly moving. I will say, if you're a master parrier, I look at that sub, you will eat this game. If you are this is the most precise.
They have like 6 different parries.
It's parry with there's also a unique mechanic that took adjustment, which is weapon input parry. So timing.
Yeah, I ain't like that, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is weird. And it's an adjustment period. I finally got, but one thing I
Talk
gotta
about
give
the white flash one.
yes, the one thing I will give the move list credit. Every move you get from my man in the Raven, yo, you want to go practice that? You want to go there? I'm the guy that was in there because I'm like, yo, how's that gonna work? And it starts to get overwhelming because there's so many ways you can attack and defend, and there's the parry and the fatal this, and there's you can invest on. I went a defensive style where I went perfect block. And if I get because I'm a guy that I use block and I use dash, block, dash. So even when I'm fight, I'm looking to see if somebody throwing something
I
at me.
rarely parried. Like I was very, very adamant on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna completely circle around you, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna attack the dude that it's gonna be the issue, and I'm gonna work my way down like a ladder.
When I finally got better is when I started using the environment more, which was like when I'm surrounded, I see that right bumper. Oh, I'm jumping up there. I'm gonna get an aerial view, run around and get my bearings, and then focus on who I feel are the troublemakers. You know what I'm saying? Like who is the guys who are really. So I think that was it's a learning curve at first because this game it's not forgiving. Even on like a regular difficult, this game, the difficulty is there. But what I want to give them credit is they serve everyone in a cool way. If you are the high skilled person, oh yeah, you can bump that difficulty up, or you can clean shop and you will be rewarded with ninja coin and all that stuff. And if you want to get super nice, you want to jump in one of them purgatories. I'm a little addicted to them purgatories. I'm a little addicted because my ego won't let me leave. Like, nah. Y'all think I can't beat this little arena joint?
Now, were you wagering life or you were doing it?
Nah. I'm going free 99. You ain't getting no life. I'm just letting you know I can beat you.
Yeah.
Free 99. I'm not coming in here with 50%. See, that's what I like. But look at the skill gap. If there's somebody like Solve is nicer than me, he like, yo, you take 15%, you take half of my, and I'll get double the reward, double the like that. It's a good push pull. And the last thing I want to give them credit, I really rarely see game. This is for people like me who, let's be honest, like this is King would know. Ninja Gaiden was really the first Souls game in a way. This was the first game we played it on the Xbox, the OG. Again, shout out to the Legend Inagaki-san. You know, we were like, God damn, this game is hard as hell. Like, how the hell? Like, I'm getting hit by regular enemies giving you the business. running down on you like they bosses, like you better respect me. Every fight has to be respected in Ninja Gaiden. So that's what I was like, oh, okay. But where I like that they did, forget the guy like me, he's a little older, don't. All right, you lost. Okay, you lost again. Here's a little life potion after your 5th loss. Maybe you need a little extra just to get through. Because we looking at you struggle out here. Oh, that's 10 losses in a row. Kyle, you sure you don't want to go down to difficult? You got the option. Or what they would do would be like, okay, we'll give you a stronger potion, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
they
again,
would
you
give
don't have
you the lesser potion up. So if you didn't have, I do feel like I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could turn that off.
could refuse it.
There are some people that would be like, yo, I didn't ask for that.
Right.
So I do feel like you should be able to accept it or not.
And I'm going to assume that, again, I didn't test this.
I took it. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I told you.
I was like, you give me all the help you can get.
Because, there was a certain dude, there was one wolf-like individual that was giving me the business. And I was just like, yo, fam, what's going on? And as soon as he got into a certain point and there's a little aerial combat situation that was going on, it was driving me crazy. But because certain people, they only turn up when it's until they form 2. When they get to form 2, you like, oh, it's on now. You thought you was this. Let me show you what it is. Oh God, no. Oh God. Like it was one of the moments. So look, for me, I built my whole style around defense, block defense, parry, and then defensive accessories. I would look at the accessory stuff. I would tune into being able to block longer. I would tune into having more accessories to just have equipped on me at one time. But I thought the gameplay was cool, and I really liked some of the fun the traversal stuff. They did some really fly stuff that was just, like I said, it's nonsensical, but just damn, it looks so dope. You just do it. Oh, gotta call y'all out though. So the ninja, we all love him, but damn it, y'all got a lot of similarity to Art of Vengeance, to Mr. Joe Musashi's toolkit. Let's just say, as far as when you get ninja abilities to traverse the world, or you got the grappler hook, or you got a little surfboard, or you can fly, you can glide. Like, okay, all right. Now, I'm not saying who all work, and it's not exclusive to, this is not a ninja tools that are exclusive to one ninja game. But it's just funny because I just came from Art of Vengeance, and I'm like, Yakamo.
Yeah, I don't ever recall seeing like a surfboard in Ninja Gaiden.
I don't remember that. I was like, wait a minute, bro, that's Shinobi. Let's not play around with this. You know what I'm saying? Then you also got the grab. Okay, all right, Yakamo.
But to the defense,
talk your talk.
That's with Yakamo and not with Ryu. Right? So when Ryu can run across water, Yakamo needs a surfboard.
Yeah, fair. So. I was just coming at the young boy. He likes Shinobi.
Listen, I like borrowing concepts.
Yeah, that's it. But that's all I got. I talked a lot with that. That was all my gameplay.
Yeah, that's fine. King, man, what was your thoughts on the gameplay, man?
I thought the gameplay was spot on. Platinum Games never let me down when it comes to gameplay. I think gameplay is at the top of their board when you come into a Platinum game. From Bayonetta to even the canceled Scalebound. The gameplay kind of looked really decent. Now, it was other aspects of that didn't kind of shine through. So they have redeemed themselves. That's the reason why I can say that, because they never let themselves down when it comes to gameplay. Gameplay has always been very high on their charts. And I personally feel that certain things that they chose to do in this world, because they reward me as an explorationist. I love to go around every nook and cranny. Unless something goes on, I'm trying to figure out every aspect of the game. If the game is showing me to go forward, I'm going to go left. If it's showing me to go left, I'm going to go right. I'm going to try everything possible to figure out what you got hidden in this game. And a lot of times I ran into these purgatory torii gates, which are the bane of my existence. And I had to give up on a lot of them. These guys wanted to sit there and fight. I wanted to finish this game to the best of my ability.
I was right there with you, King. I came across one as like, we're not doing this.
Well, I've done every purgatory that I've done in
chapters. That's why you on chapter. That's why you on chapter 11.
That's why I'm on chapter 11.
That's a you thing.
Yeah,
that's a you thing.
Yeah, the last few ones I was like, I'll come back to this at a later day.
I'm on New Game Plus, and I respect it.
I personally that zombie one.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Y'all
Raw,
ridiculous.
where they leave the green stuff on the floor. And
Yo, you're able to pick which hellish scape that you want to go into and try to figure out how much time you want to leave in this room. Because me personally, no, I want to see more of the game. So again, rail riding, pause. I thought that was ingenious. Okay, so it got to a board where it felt Sonic-esque, right? So a lot of times I'm playing Sonic and the speed of Sonic is really hyper speed. I didn't think they were going to be able to bring that over to Ninja Gaiden, but they did in spades. It's a part where you're riding the rails and you have to jump out of the way of oncoming trains. And in jumping out of the way of oncoming trains, you're running along the side of walls, you're hopping over obstacles that's on the rail, you're ducking underneath obstacles that pop out in front of you. And the timing of it is so gratifying after you get past that segment. They don't stick around too long. They stick around just right. But then when you get other aspects of the ninja skill, you're able to incorporate flying aspects to it, into gliding, into rail running, into hopping. I think they got traversal down pack. I'm huge when it comes to traversal in games. I got the skateboard, the hoverboard on top of the water took me back to old Shinobi when I got a chance to first see that. And like Cog said, that was revisited this year with the Art of Vengeance. So to see that in a 3D space, we're talking about 2D space games. Now this is brought to you in a 3D space. I think they had the harder task as far as trying to convert something that we're used to in a 2D space into a 3D space. And for the most part, they did very well with it while keeping the exploration for people like myself very high. It was a lot of boards that I saw that I was like, I like this. I like the fact that they were smart with this. I like the fact that they hid stuff around the corner. And then sometimes it's what you're trying to get to as far as the exploration is directly behind you, but it's behind obstacles that you don't normally see, and you have to find that pathway to get to where you originally was behind that obstacle, and then it lets you off into the beaten path in order to finish the rest of the story. But the rewards for that is great because you get highly rewarded when you actually do find these little hidden treasures across the map. So that goes into the great gameplay. I think precision with the ninja the swords, the weapons itself, you were able to switch in between mid-combat move and execute incredibly intricate combos as far as getting across the board, knowing which weapon does what, as targeting the enemies that are close to you, further away, and intermediate. It did a great job at you knowing that you felt like the ultimate weapon going up against other characters that are inside the world. So I think gameplay is absolutely spot on.
Yeah. Solve. See what you feel about that gameplay, Luke, man. Inform me.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about gameplay. I'm gonna separate gameplay, like combat gameplay, from traversal gameplay. I'll talk about the combat first. And the combat is, just like you guys have said, that's chef's kiss. Like it really is tight, fast, visceral. Both characters are constantly slathered in blood. Like it's kind of crazy, how bloody and just gory this game is. But yeah, the combat at first, when you look at it and you compare it to past Ninja Gaiden games, Ryu always had a pretty big move set, right? And the move set, would always increase exponentially depending on, the weapon, right? And the same is true here. Yakamo has his sort of regular moves that he has with a weapon, and then he has the bloodlust moves that he has with that weapon, right? So that's a whole totally different move set.
About Blood Raven stuff.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Right. So he has those two, and then you go into that every time you defeat a shrine, you get a different weapon, right? And each of those weapons have their own moves for each of those different, like, again, is it blood? What's it called? Blood
Raven form.
Blood Raven form. It's Blood Raven form and the regular form. Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, as you continue to use the weapons, you're able to open up more moves with each specific weapon, right? So at the end of the day, like, well, I would say Yakamo, and then later on you'll see that Ryu has that stuff, but it happens a lot quicker than the steps you take to get to this point with Yakamo. But he has such a robust arsenal at his disposal that it's a little intimidating. Like you look at it and you're like, okay, how am I going to play this game? Like, am I, I feel bad that I'm not using all of these moves. And what you realize is that you have to sort of cater it to how you play the game, right? So like to Cog's point, when I found that there was such a rich sort of parrying system in this game, I was like, okay, well, that's going to be my gameplay style. I'm going to jump in, I'm going to swipe, get ready to block or parry, sidestep, counter, parry, counter, right?
Which parry were you using? Do you remember the inputs?
I prefer to use the one that comes off of a block because that's the one that comes more naturally to me, right? Right. The one that you use with your weapon swipe, it feels a little weird because you're swiping, and just by the nature of swinging at somebody, you may get a parry in because obviously their sword will clash with yours, or their weapon will clash with yours, and you get a parry in when you weren't trying to do it. Right. So it's one of those things where what I realized is there's a forward and swipe move that it gives me more control over when I'm trying to do it. So I will do that one, and I would do like a block parry. And then off of that, I immediately just either do a sidestep into a combo, or immediately as you progress in these move sets with these weapons, you will have auto parries where it's like, oh, you parry this, you perfect parry this, you press the left trigger, you just did some wow combo that kind of cleared the screen, right? So that was sort of my gameplay style. And what I realized is not to worry about the moves I'm not using, because it's just incentive to go back and try to play the game a different way. Just stick to the gameplay style that works for you. And this game, when you see how the characters attack and when you see how they approach you, it is very much, you have to be very cognizant of your movement, and you have to be very cognizant of your blocking and parrying. Because if you just try to swipe, and you don't get out of the way of things and you don't block things, you will get hurt very, very quickly.
Oh, especially long distance enemies. You ain't paying attention.
You're not paying attention. You're getting hit with like acid from down the block, or you're getting shot from down the block. So it is, in terms of the game that they've crafted around that combat, and the amount of sort of variety they give you in the skill trees that they give you, and how you expand upon the moves for each of these weapons that you get, right? So you have so many tools and weapons at your disposal. It is a bit intimidating, but it's a lot. You can basically go in and play the game how you want to play it. And I think that is absolutely amazing. I think, slight spoiler, they kind of shortchange you a little bit with Ryu, in that you'll have a lot of those moves, but the way you acquire them is kind of sped up a little bit as opposed to what you do with Yakamo. So that was a little bit disappointing to see, but I did really feel that those two characters play very distinctly. Ryu, though he's still very fast and very agile, feels heavier and stronger, where Yakamo's whole MO is speed and kind of quickly taking you out. Like taking you out very, very quickly, but it's more based on speed than pure raw power and overpowering people. It's basically about jumping from enemy to enemy to enemy, juggling, parrying, all this stuff in this sort of beautiful dance of blood and gore. It is so well done. I can't commend them enough on the fighting gameplay. Now, the traversal gameplay is where they lose me a little bit. Like I said before, when you compare the environments in this game to past Ninja Gaiden games are just there's a lot of variety in the worlds. There's a lot of variety in the enemies, where you don't see as much variety here. There's maybe in total over the course of the game, maybe 6 or 7 different enemies types, maybe. I mean, maybe that's being a little bit generous, that you just keep seeing them over and over again, depending on what stage you're on. And it just, in that, like, it just felt like repetitive, that I was fighting the same characters over and over again. You'd have different versions of certain characters, where now all of a sudden you had like giant versions of these characters, whether they were fiends or demons or anything like that. So it just felt like the variety wasn't there, and sort of the variety and sort of the gameplay environments weren't there. I will say this: bosses all
Those, man.
looked, they're all larger than life, amazing bosses. This is a personal preference for me. I don't like necessarily fighting these larger than life bosses that are humongous. They don't feel like they're combatants, really. They're just kind of smothering you with it, is how big and crazy they are. So I don't necessarily love fights like that. But I have to say, all of these bosses, like, they look very cool. They were very unique. They were annoying, again, because they're so much bigger than Yakamo. You're like, what the heck is this? Now, in the moments when you do fight combatants that have swords, and we touched upon it before, you will have a one-on-one with somebody that you got to prove to, right? In addition to there are side quests that you can take on in the stages that allow you to either hunt down different enemies and stuff like that. And there's one in particular he's like a Ronin or something like that, and you fight him multiple times and he gets progressively better. That is a sword fight. And that is where this game really shines, when you're sword on sword combat and both of these characters are able to show their move sets, and you're blocking and dodging, and you're parrying, and the swords are clanging together. That is a beautiful thing. And that, as good as that combat is, it shines even more in moments like that, when there's just two swordsmen going at it. Like, it really is something special. So back to the traversal. So yeah, I was not a fan of the surfboard. I was not a fan of the glider.
Really?
I was not, and it's not because I don't feel it didn't belong or anything like that. The rail grinding was funny. It was cool. Like, I liked it because it was so fast paced, and you could see the ninja, like, he's grinding on his rail, then he runs on a wall, then jumps. But when it came to like the surfboard part, I just felt like it was clunky, and it didn't need to be. Like, a lot of times you were surfing on water that was ankle deep, that you could just run on the water anyway.
That part
I was
just
I was like, why is he surfing on this? But it wasn't frustrating. I was just like, whatever, I don't need this. The frustrating one for me was the glider sometimes, because the glider sometimes, if you don't catch where that right bumper sort of signal comes up, if you don't catch it, or doesn't recognize it, there are times I know I caught it and it didn't recognize it, and I just fall to my death, and you have to start over. And there were a couple of instances where it happened multiple times, where I'm purposely knowing I'm probably gonna die, looking to see the R bumper,
R bumper, please come up,
And so I'm just like, man, why? Everything's for a game where everything flows so smoothly from one thing to the next. It was frustrating that was stopping me in a way that I was like, I don't need to be going through this. Why did I put this in here? And if you did put it in here, why do you put it so much? Because there's so much gliding in here, and it's just like, it doesn't need to be there. So when it came to that stuff, I was disappointed. I was like, you're messing up. If the pacing was a little weird in some instances, because you try to fit in like 4 or 5 chapters into one biome, this made it even more frustrating for me, where I was like, man, I don't want to do this. And after a few minutes, you figure it out and you continue on with it. But I'm just like, man, it just, when you just come off of like this great combat moment, and it plays so beautifully and so perfectly, and you go to that felt clumsy to me, and I'm like, I didn't need it, and it kind of slowed things down for me in a way that I didn't like. So that was it. But chef's kiss when it comes to combat. They did a fantastic job, and it is very much, it feels like a platinum game. It feels, it isn't. There's something about Ryu and a Tecmo game where he feels despite how agile he is, he still feels heavy and strong. Yakamo feels like a freak, he just feels like a missile, like going back and forth between enemies. So it's a different feel, but they got it, man. And I was playing on the PC, 144 hertz, like bro, like so good, so good. So yeah, kudos to them for that.
Yeah, so it comes down to gameplay. You guys pretty much stole the majority of my bars. Gameplay's good,
first.
especially the different forms of weapons. You pretty much have a blood ability with every weapon. It actually changes appearance. So you have the base form, and then when you go into your blood ability, it changes with it, and it's got a variety of different abilities. You have trees with all of them. You have weapon abilities on top of that. You have combat abilities on top of the weapon abilities. It's just combat is just insane, and I feel like this is one of those games where easy to pick up, hard to master. And if you want to get those A's or S's, I don't know if there's S's in here, you're going to work for that. Because I played on the normal difficulty, and I'm going to be real. Especially the first 4 or 5 hours of the game, I was contemplating if I was going to finish this game. Because it was frustrating me, because it would be one of those things where you're like, yeah, I can see why I died there. I don't like it, but I can see why I died there. And then there was this one part in the first level where there's one of those what are those things that they transfer from country to country in storage containers or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It was one of those in like some kind of dock with a whole bunch of those storages everywhere. And I'm gonna be real, I was stuck on that sucker for about 35 minutes. I kept dying, but it was my stupidity, because I didn't know you could buy the health as much as you want. You just had to have the currency. So I wasn't using them.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was getting massacred.
Well, I learned something very early on, that I purchased this move that you're able to grab the characters and flip them.
Yes,
and chuck them away from you. Yeah, chuck them away from you. Yeah.
So no, I was using them to chuck them off the
throw
board.
off of like elevators and stuff. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, hell yeah,
I like that.
That helped me clear out a ton of spaces. Anything that had a roof, a hole, or something, I was grabbing them, chucking them down the hole, chucking them off the roof. So,
I ain't gonna lie.
You get the same energy.
When I started like improving combat, is I started having a weapon be for certain things. Okay, when I get up, when I put my hands on you, that's the swords. Mm-hmm. When I can't put my hands on you, it's another one. If I'm trying to close distance, every weapon I made sure to unlock something that would close distance fast.
Guys, shout out to that drill umbrella joint.
Oh my god,
I was putting in work.
Hold that Y button. And go into dragon mode and
unleashing.
Bro, we didn't not to interrupt your segment, but like, also we didn't even talk about when you get the Blood Raven Rage zone and you do the graffiti kill and stylish,
stylish murder kill.
When you put somebody on a Summer Jam screen and the joint, I'll be waiting to press them two buttons.
It's funny. I was fighting a certain person. I won't say their name, but I ain't gonna lie, man. I was looking at that meter. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Just wait till I get this meter."
And how do you feel? I know hijack your segment a little bit, but how do you feel about the mechanic that when it builds up, if you don't use it, it will slowly
go back
fade
down.
away.
It will use it after battle. It won't do it during battle, but the moment battle ends, it will slowly start to go down. So I every battle, if that thing popped, I was finding the biggest group of people, and I was murking all of them at the same time.
Because my problem was I was trying to sit on it like a Destiny super. And they's like, nah, fam, you better use this. Because you can't be holding on this in your backpack for the whole stage. You gonna use it when you got and it came in clutch. That's what was saving me from the purgatory.
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to the combat, man, it was solid combat. Really enjoyed it. Bosses, great variety of bosses. Always change up how you fought them. Like I said, particular boss, one of the best one-on-one combats I've had in gaming in a very long time. Like I was raging. I don't rage often in games, but that person had me livid. You can ask my brother. He watched. He's like, "What is wrong with you?" I don't know. Ask them.
He's like, it's like fighting a mirror image of yourself almost, but it's like
just a way better mirror image of
just
yourself.
a way better mirror.
And what's funny is like there's an ability you learn that's very, 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 very famous in Ninja Gaiden. It's they have it in Naruto. It's called the Primary Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that move after that fight.
I know what you're talking about.
As far as like the traversal that Saul brought up, I actually liked the traversal. I felt like they changed it up. I didn't have no issues with like grabbing the wind or anything. I don't think I ever it didn't register or anything like that. I liked it because it's not your traditional platforming. It's flashy platforming. I never saw it as like a means to like fight or anything. I always saw it as like a means of showing how like how ninjas get around. So that's what I took it from. But I definitely understand your aspect from it because there were some times where it's like, did you really need this in here? They probably could have. I liked
when you was going up that damn temple. And oh my God, they was using it.
I liked when they started adding and complying them together. Like you would glide to like the middle of nowhere, and I'm sitting there falling down. I'm like, where do I go?
Or they combine it and they be like that, then grapple, then run, then grapple. That like they got to a little flow at one point or certain things. But I stay what you say.
Yeah. So I feel about that. It's just like, look, great combat. I have to honestly say, if I were to give just the combat, it'd be like a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, like very few things I can really nitpick, and I didn't even jump in it like that. I found what worked, and I stuck with it. I probably only had like 3 combos the whole game, but it was so solid. I was like, no one messing with me except for one person. But, it comes. Finish what you gonna say?
No, I'm sorry. They would let you finish. Add on then before the last after you finish.
We're about to go to the last one. So what are you saying?
Yeah, no, pretty much. Yeah, like you nailed it. Solve you describing it perfect. And it says that what I realized is I was using ninja coins and just trying everything, and I needed to just focus on a play style because I didn't really need everything. You gotta, and then I found certain moves like, up, down, Y, circle, Y, like certain flows. I was like, I'm gonna pick these moves because these come out easier for me.
The last weapon broken, but we ain't gonna go into that.
Oh, we were good. Yeah. So that's that. And the thing I want to shout out is it's kind of first for a Ninja Gaiden game where there was light stealth assassination mechanics.
And you could clear whole stages if you were quick enough.
If you're quick enough. And I get it. I know, Soft, fix your face. I know it's not a pure stealth thing. And I remember asking, I was like, yo, this is new. Like, you've never seen it. He said, no, we wanted to put that. This is the platinum vibe. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bobby Side and all those guys who were giving their flavors. But I just like the fact because there were times where I was scheming, and if there was a difficult, like the sword, if
I saw anyone with yellow, he's getting the stealth.
Them tangles, there's certain enemies if I got to deal with that enemy, he gonna be a problem. I'm going to target you.
Especially when you run in the walls and come straight down to an assassination.
And you see that assassination?
That's very pretty. Yeah.
So that's why I had to get, like I said, was the game a full-on stealth game in that respect? No. But I love the fact that they added this to Ninja Gaiden to make me prioritize threats that I wanted to handle in the order I wanted to handle. And if you're quick enough, you can get a couple more off before their their awareness meter gets there. It's highest very quick.
It was a pretty solid experience when it comes to this stuff. So to our overall, we went definitely over, and I knew
as we always do.
So let's keep
I'll do timestamps for the round.
Yeah. So this last one, we just overall impressions, and do you yourself give it the iron seal of approval? King, you're muted. We'll go with Cog first since King.
No, he did.
No, he's still muted. Go. Cog.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. Let me get his balls. He's been patient.
Now, overall, I believe that the game is a solid 9. 8 solid 9. Also, the versatility of play anywhere. All right. So, my main crux with a lot of these newer titles that are coming out are in using the versatility of play anywhere, and without that ability, I think honestly, I wouldn't have been able to finish the game because, as you can see, I'm actually in New Game Plus. Loving the game, can't put the game down, and my teammates, my panel mates, my friends, my family that is talking about this game right now can tell you, I never used this device to play AAA titles. It's something about the ergonomics of this device and the flexibility that allows me to play them. This was one of the games that I had to play in this environment, and it didn't let me down. Platinum understood the assignment and made sure the gameplay was top notch. And the visual splendor that I see on the small screen, as well as the large screen, transcends both mediums. So, again, Platinum gets higher marks based off of the fact that they looked at it as where this game is going to be played, understood what games are coming out for it, and I mean, and what devices it can be used on. And I understood that they knew that speed, efficiency, graphics, and sound design, because the sound design, we didn't even talk about that, is so spot on when you walk into the room and you hear the rain droplets. It's small graphical things that take it to the next level. The sound design takes it to the next level. Again, solid 8, but I'm not afraid to push it to a 9 based on all the high points and to play anywhere. This game is definitely in my highest recommended list, especially if you just purchased your new ROG Ally X and you want something to play anywhere, or if you happen to be playing on PC, like Sav said, that thing running at 144 hertz is crazy to me, and I can't wait to test that out as well. So again, love the game. Absolutely loved it. This is one of the titles that I set aside my life to finish, and I did so.
Cog, what's your overall impressions and your final verdict? Is to get the iron silver approval from Cog?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the cops. They agree. They hype right now. Look, man, this is I'm living my best gaming life this year. Like I am beloved things that I love are coming back. And sometimes when you hear something come back, you get scared. You're like, damn, man, this is something sacred. Don't mess it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, I went through this, with Shinobi and a couple other games, and I'm just like, Ninja Gaiden's coming back. How's that gonna go? Obviously you had Range Bound and it was NES flavor. You're like, okay, cool. And I feel like the trifecta is complete. My year is complete. I am truly living the year in the Ninja. Shout out to Team Platinum Games, man. They did that. They had a tough assignment because at the end of the day, you have to respect what was done before you, but at the same time, you got to add your flavor, and you could piss off a lot of people. You could piss off a core people, and I thought they really did it. I think King has a valid point, though. We were very clear that if you came in here looking for this is going to be the Ryu Hayabusa experience. That may be the thing that may turn you off on some level. If that is your guy and you're like, man, you know what I'm saying? But be clear, fan service is done. And it's just a matter if you're willing to give this a shot. But as far from a narrative and a new character's perspective, but as far as a pure gameplay, this is that. He is him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good. Like I said, my only nitpick is, again. So I've said it earlier. Like story for the means to end to get to the fighting and the killing and destroying. You know what I'm saying? Like we here to get from point A to point B and look cool doing it. But no, I am thoroughly impressed for what I played so far. You guys are ahead of me, but from my experience so far, I've been on the edge of my seat. My only nitpicks here are some basic issues, but overall. Iron Lord seal of approval, Ninja Gaiden 4. They got one. I'm very proud. King said it best too. I'm looking forward to the future for both characters or what they want to do and stuff. Like there's so much here. And I want to give this team their credit. They chose core gameplay and since they kept their identity but still deliver something new. And I thought this was really refreshing, man. What a comeback for so long. They did a fantastic job.
Solve. What's your final verdict, and does it get that Solve silver approval from the Iron Lords?
Yeah, I'm a little cooler on it. Just a little cooler. Because of the things that I talked about. I think again, the combat gameplay is absolutely amazing. It is what drives me to continue to want to play this game and get better at it and sort of play the game in a different style that I played it the original way. So Platinum did their thing there. They really did. And they did their thing in terms of crafting a game that shows reverence to Ryu Hayabusa, to the Ninja Gaiden series, to what people expect from it. I just felt that in certain ways, it felt a little short of what I expected, considering, having played past Ninja Gaiden games. I did think that like the environments were a little repetitive and samey. I thought some of the traversal stuff was just not as well done as the rest of the game. So I was like, it kind of slowed it down for me in a way that kind of was a little bit frustrating. I just really wanted to get to the killing, and even then, playing past Ninja Gaiden games, I'm like, well, the killing felt more interesting in more diverse environments, and that's something that we didn't really get here. But like I said, everything that has to do with the combat, though, they really, really, really did a fantastic job. And to that end, I would love to see them continue do more games in this franchise. As we've seen with like Ragebound, they there's a passing of the torch where they're very willing to use other characters other than Ryu as their main protagonist. In Ragebound we saw Kenji, which is another character we could see in the 3D space, and obviously now we have Yakumo as a character that we're very interested in seeing more of as a primary protagonist here. So yeah, I think the game for me, if I would put a number on it, it lands like on a strong 7.5 to 8. And that would be like just the combat really, really taking it up a notch. It really is special. It really does play very well. And if you're a combat, focused sort of gamer, you're gonna love this. So big shout out, and rest in peace to Tomonobu Itagaki for creating the archetype for this type of 3D action game. Because his fingerprints all over this. You look at this and you're like, this is, and you go back to Ninja Gaiden, the original reboot on the OG Xbox, and you see it, the blueprint is there, right? So shout out to him, because they did a very good job with this.
Yeah, real quick, so before you pass it at it, what's your favorite Ninja Gaiden game of all time? Just curious.
My favorite would have to be, I would say 2.
Okay.
2, and then 2 black, kind of when it released, I was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing with this. But if I go back to like original
OG
Ninja
Black?
Gaiden Black, like it really is, again, the variety in the environments, what King mentioned, like you fights in dojos and stuff like that.
You like the
fire
different
around you.
biomes.
It just, even Ninja Gaiden 3, you go to Ninja Gaiden 3, Ninja Gaiden 3 was so varied in its environments.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, I was disappointed that they kind of went the other direction with it.
Right. That's what you said. We stayed more in a dark Tokyo setting.
Yeah, and it was just very sort of
yeah,
repetitive and stuff like that. I'm like, man, they could have done more with this. But again, the main aspect of these games is the fighting, and in that they are right up there, and they have nothing to worry about there. So I would love to see them take more cracks at this franchise for sure.
Yeah, so coming down to me, I'm kind of in the middle of all of you. I feel like it's a fantastic experience. I do give it my seal of approval. I would give it like an 8, because I do feel that pacing is atrocious at sometimes, and I feel like the story kind of fell off a little bit towards the end. But besides that, the combat, some of the best combat, you can get in these type of action adventure. I call them space-to-space games. Kill everyone in this space, go to another space. Kill everyone in that space, go to another space. But it was entertaining the entire time I did it, and I have to, really give my hats off to that. So that's pretty much it for the review. First off, once again, shout out to Xbox, shout out to Platinum, shout out to Team Ninja for providing us all with codes to experience this. And this was our review of Ninja Gaiden 4. We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Entertaining the entire time I did it, and I have to, really give my hats off to that. So that's pretty much it for the review. First off, once again, shout out to Xbox, shout out to Platinum, shout out to Team Ninja for providing us all with codes to experience this. And this was our review of Ninja Gaiden 4. We out.
Peace.
Peace.